Chapter 9. Ice and Snow Giant Sword. Like the others who were petrified for the first time, Amy fell to the ground as soon as the magic was released. A bony hand pulled Amy up from the ground. "Half a year ago, I met your father in the ice wishing tower, and we fought side by side for 3 months," the old magician said shockingly, and Amy was stunned for a moment. At the same time, Chi Hanfeng, whose magic was released, rubbed his butt and got up from the ground. "Mr. Magician, what is your name?" "Leg, the great court magician of the Amy Empire and the magic teacher of Harry IV, the 53rd king of the Amy Empire. You don't have to kowtow to me, although I am older than Chi Ningyuan. By the way, what year is it in the Red Moon calendar now? I just came out of the wishing tower and found that many things have changed. Alas, only one day in the tower is 100 years in the world." The old magician was quite emotional. Chi Hanfeng showed an expression that he was not ready to kneel down. While answering the question, he used words to paraphrase the old magician. "Oh, then you are really of a high generation. However, time is ruthless and the world has no seniority. It's better for us to talk about our own things, otherwise it will be too troublesome. It is now the 199th year of the Red Moon calendar. When did you see this guy Lake Harbor? It's been 93 years. I have been practicing in the prayer tower for 93 years, the old magician said in a low voice with his face as solemn as ice. 94 years ago, the great court magician Rege entered the prayer tower under the escort of federal soldiers to explore the unknown magical realm. After entering the prayer tower, he found that he had entered a completely unknown realm. 10 years ago, Lege's friend Lei Batten entered the wishing tower and has not come out yet. So Lege hopes to find his old friend first after entering. When Lege pushed open the door of the wishing tower, he found that the wishing tower was actually another world of ice and snow. Although the wishing tower was very high, with a total of 13 floors, he walked in and found that there was still the sun in the sky. There were still icebergs in the distance and snowflakes fell from the sky. There were no roads or buildings. When he wanted to exit from inside, he found that there was no door. The old magician smiled. "It took me a long time to understand the true meaning of the trial in the wishing tower. When any magician enters the tower, a separate barrier will appear according to his own magic attributes. This barrier is consistent with the attributes of the tower." According to the introduction in Yuewei Encyclopedia, the earliest human magicians were divided into 3 camps, namely nature, neutral, order, and destruction. They reached contracts with natural elves of different attributes and used the power of magic elves to realize magic. Magic is divided into 5 levels. Any magician can use the first level magic of each attribute. For example, an apprentice magician of the ice system can not only use the first level magic of the ice system, but also use the first level magic of the fire, wind, water, and other systems very flexibly. In addition, the apprentice magician of the ice system should be able to use the second level magic of the ice system proficiently. When he can use the third level magic of the ice system at will, he can pass the second level magician certification. If he can use the fourth level magic of the ice system at will, and can use the second level magic of other systems with the same attribute at any time, for example, ice, water, and wind are all neutral attributes, then he can become a first level magician. If you can practice continuously and have enough talent, once you master the 5th level magic of this system, you will become a great magician. The Grand Mage level is the wasteland of the long and boring magic training of the magician. The magic teacher has no higher magic to teach at this time. More than 80% of the Grand Mages keep this title and go to the grave. Only less than 20% of the Grand Mages ask to enter the prayer tower for trial. Magicians who have not entered the wishing tower will never know the content of the trial, and magicians who have walked out of the wishing tower will not reveal the details of the trial because they have signed a silent contract with the upper elves. In fact, after entering the wishing tower within a separate magic elf attribute barrier, one breathes with the world of this attribute every day, every hour, and every moment, and what one gains is the experience of being familiar with this world of attribute. When the magician is completely integrated with this world, he owns this world, he can create a magic field of his own attribute. So you can create your own magic realm now, right? Amy asked anxiously. The old magician smiled with his narrowed eyes. He stretched out a finger, and a small snowflake immediately appeared on the tip of his finger. Then, heavy snow fell all over the treehouse bar, and the snow seemed to leak naturally from the roof. When everyone looked up in surprise, the snowflake disappeared as suddenly as it appeared. For magicians, the effect of the domain is extremely obvious. Magic of the same camp, such as wind and water, will be enhanced in the ice domain, and the bonus of ice magic will increase the attack and defense power by more than 100%. Magic of different attributes, such as fire or earth, will be reduced in the ice domain. Some first-level and second-level magic cannot be used in the ice domain. After I learned the domain, the Upper Ice Elf Irelands came out and signed a contract with me. When I need his help, I just need to open my domain and he will appear. Learning the domain does not mean that I can definitely walk out of the prayer tower until I meet your father. The old magician Rege looked at Amy and said, "The prayer tower has only one door, and magicians cannot find the location of the door in the barrier. With one exception, Lake Harbor. He is not a magician, so he cannot see the barrier. According to him, he saw me on the 7th floor of the prayer tower. He kept wanting to talk to me, but I was in the barrier and could not see him at all. After I was able to cast the domain by chance, my domain overlapped with the tower's barrier surrounding him, and we were finally able to communicate. Later, Lake Harbor brought Rege to the gate and let him walk out of the prayer tower. The great magician, oh no, to be precise, the ice magician Rege opened his barrier bag, pulled out a snow-white two-handed sword from it, and handed it to Amy. According to your father, he placed this sword on the door when he entered the prayer tower, and the Upper Ice Elf Irelands added some magic to it in his spare time. Your father asked me to bring it to you, said Rege. Where's my dad? Didn't he come out with you? No, you must rely on the power of your own barrier to open the door of the prayer tower. Your father doesn't know magic. But don't worry, I left him a few magic books. I think maybe after a while he will be able to have his own barrier. Well, the ice-type upper elves are very interested in him and may be able to help him. Don't you want to take a closer look at the little gift your father gave you? Said Rege. Oh, this sword seems very light. Amy picked it up easily with one hand and flipped it twice. If it weren't for the size of a two-handed sword, I would have thought it was a one-handed sword. Legu. I've seen this sword, but it's very strange. It looks the same as the original one, but the color is wrong. It was originally black, so how did it turn snow-white? Chi Hanfeng had seen this sword before. There are about 30 great magicians in the Wishing Tower, and each of them has his own barrier, and the barriers made by the upper elves are even stronger. This sword has always been used as a latch on the door of the Wishing Tower, which means that its barriers overlap with those of everyone else. So it is baptized by wind and snow every day, and with the upper elves blessing it with ice magic, it will undergo fundamental changes. First, it has become lighter, because its internal structure has changed. Secondly, this sword already has a name, Ice Blade. As long as you know its name, you can cast the first-level ice magic Ice Blade at will. Finally, as long as the owner of the weapon has enough magic power and can cooperate with this weapon, he can cast all the offensive magic of the ice system. If you sign a contract with an ice upper elf, you can also summon the Field of Ice. There is no need to seal magic in this sword, the old magician said in a low voice. Great. Amy couldn't let it go. By the way, Amy, are you willing to learn magic? Rege asked casually. Yes, that's great. Amy was so happy that she almost died. Being able to learn magic meant that she could enter the Wishing Tower one day. The unwilling imperial noble on the side pouted, his face becoming uglier than a bitter gourd, and he muttered, I knew you had no good intentions. You came to steal my disciples. The old magician patted Chi Hanfeng on the shoulder and said, Young man, there are many things you don't know yet. Amy must learn magic. Time will tell everything. Amy, I have never accepted a disciple. You are my first disciple, and I think you will also be my last. Chi Hanfeng's training should have given you a good physique, which is very helpful for you to learn magic. I hope. No, I require that you must surpass me and become a great magician of nature. This is also your father's expectation of you. The old magician had a serious face. This was all the wise man could say to the boy who was just in his teens. Okay, if it's convenient for you, let's go to Longya Mountain together. It is said that green dragons have appeared frequently there recently. I want to give it a try. The old magician said to Chi Hanfeng with a smile, if we can find the dragon cave, you must know what will be in the dragon cave. Black, red, white, yellow, whatever you can think of, there will be. Well, many dragons have the habit of kidnapping human princesses, maybe. You understand what I mean? Amy was a little confused as to what was going on, but as she saw the fallen nobleman's face completely blossoming, she knew that Uncle Chi was moved again. Amy, who was traveling far away for the first time, embarked on a journey to Longya Mountain. Longya Mountain is located at the northernmost tip of the frozen continent. It is the natural boundary between the Hami Kingdom and the North Hami Kingdom. The average altitude is over 3,000 meters, and the main peak, Green Dragon Terrace, is 4,313 meters high. The origin of the name Longya Mountain is difficult to verify. There are two rumors. 1. In order to calm down the war between gods and demons, the god of creation drove a six-dragon chariot to drive away the ice demons with force, and plucked out the tooth of the ancient green giant ice dragon in the six-dragon chariot to seal the ice demon. The dragon tooth met the weathered mountain and grew in one day. 2. Longya Mountain is shaped like a dragon tooth, so it is called Longya Mountain. Recorded in Classic of Mountains and Seas, Strange Talks and Strange Theories. Chapter 10 Snow Bear Fight. Early summer on the frozen continent has a unique flavor. The night was very short. The sun had just set in the northwest and then rose in the northeast. The sky was filled with gorgeous auroras. The red moon had just appeared and then disappeared in the dawn. The black sun was particularly conspicuous against the backdrop of the gorgeous aurora. The days are very long, and the white sun is emitting warm sunlight. The ice and snow accumulated over the winter begins to melt slowly, and the snow water drips down from the rocks, mountains, and trees. Traveling on the Longya Mountain Continental Highway, both sides of the road are streams formed by the melted ice and snow. The sunny south bank of the stream is full of colorful daisies, and colorful butterflies seize this short summer to spread pollen for the flowers. On the road came a young man, dressed in snow-white clothes, snow beast leather boots, snow seal leather pants, coarse linen top, snow beast waistcoat, and a snow-white two-handed sword on his back. He was almost taller than the boy. This was Amy's first time traveling far away, but she was quickly stood up. Lei Gu was very surprised to find that his apprentice was extremely agile, and his agility seemed to be better than that of high-level thieves. On the first day of the trip, in order to test Amy's ability, Lei Gu quietly cast a small spell, the first-level earth magic, earth teeth horizontally growing. As Amy walked, the entire ground either bulged or cracked. Amy, who was traveling far away for the first time and walking on the mainland road for the first time, jumped excitedly and sometimes turned back to chat with Lei Gu and Chi Hanfeng. He never paid attention to his feet, but even if there was a sudden change, his feet seemed to have eyes and he could always easily avoid it. As a neutral magician, he admires nature the most. Some people say that neutral magic originated from the druids who lived in the forest. Neutral magicians all hope to have good physical fitness, agility, and strong mental strength. According to Lei Ji's observation, these points are exactly Amy's strengths. Lei Gu was in a very good mood as he grabbed a good disciple as soon as he came out of the prayer tower. In order to better train this little guy, Lei Gu suggested that Amy walk for half a day, and he and Chi Hanfeng would leave half a day later. If nothing serious happened, they would gather at the post station at the foot of Longya Mountain. The mainland highway is very safe. The merchants and military passing by all year round have already scared the surrounding animals away from both sides of the road. Chi Hanfeng is also very aware of this and agrees with this proposal, but as soon as he said it, his tone changed immediately. Well, this is also good, Amy, you have to think about it. Master Lei Gu just came out of the prayer tower and hasn't seen a woman for 94 years. I don't need to say it, you also understand what I mean. Although I am not afraid of teaching you bad things, people always have some shame. In front of you, how could he? Uncle Lei Gu, don't look at me, I won't say it, I don't care, it doesn't matter who I go with. But let's go with Lei Gu, in case he is not very familiar with the current price. Chi Hanfeng said, I summon you with my name. Come out, Phantom Beast. He mounted Xiaobai and ran away, although the speed of the Phantom Beast was still not as fast as the lightning in the sky. But it was just as he said. The magician could not attack the knight and the Phantom Beast at the same time, so although he could not directly compete with the magician, his escape speed was still much faster than other types of soldiers. After taking a beginner's magician's manual from Rege and finding some silver coins from Uncle Chi, Amy set off. The trip was estimated to be 7 days, and I had already walked for 6 days. Looking back, I could not see the shadow of my uncle and teacher. During these 6 days, some businessmen occasionally passed by me. Businessmen who often travel on the road have become accustomed to a certain lifestyle. While traveling, they try to speed up, don't talk much, and try to get to the post station before dark. No matter who they meet, they are treated as strangers. However, after entering the post station hotel, they immediately became lively. Even if they were strangers, it was easy to communicate. Children like Amy don't like such a boring journey. Lure, run. Ha! From the coniferous forest on the right, the voice of a child panting and calling out to his friends could be faintly heard. Several tall coniferous trees were swaying continuously, as if they were hit by something. Howl! The sound of some unknown monster came from the woods. Amy jumped over the 4-meter-wide drainage ditch on the right side of the mainland highway, pulled out the ice blade from behind, held the sword with both hands, and flashed into the woods. 2 huge white snow bears immediately appeared in front of Amy. Stepping on the remaining snow, the snow bears knocked over small trees with their huge paws and rushed forward with a howl. The snow bear is known as the king of the frozen continent. It is 2 people tall, and with its huge paws no beast can fight against it. The target of the 2 snow bears was a dark-skinned boy who seemed to be about the same age as Amy, but even stronger than Amy. The boy ran away, calling a green puppy that stumbled and followed him. The boy's black hair fluttered in the air, and sweat fell from his hair into the forest. If it weren't for the trees and the huge bodies of the snow bears, the boy would have been caught up long ago. The black-haired boy circled and ran towards the road. Ah! Amy was surprised to find that the boy was holding a little snow bear in each hand. The 2 little snow bears were still struggling and screaming. No wonder the snow bears, which rarely conflict with humans, were so furious. The little boy also spotted Amy and shouted anxiously to her, You don't come over here, it's dangerous. Run. Run along the woods. At first, Amy was hesitant about whether to help the little boy who got into trouble. But seeing how concerned he was, the teenager, who was just over 10 years old, felt more confident. Amy put the sword back on her back, rushed over, snatched the bear from the boy, and ran towards the mainland road. Running to the drainage ditch, Amy threw the 2 little snow bears onto the mainland road with force. Regardless of the boy's reaction, she lowered her head, grabbed the boy's right foot, swung it up, swung the boy around in circles twice, and then let go. Put me down, I can jump by myself, wow. Ping pong, the boy was thrown over the gutter in protest and landed with a typical dog-eat-shit fall. Woo woo, seeing its owner being bullied. The green puppy opened its mouth and bit Amy's trouser leg. Its eyes were filled with anger. Oh no, it was anticipation and desire. It hummed anxiously at Amy, as if to say, Don't forget me. While whining, the little guy raised his right leg to signal Amy. Amy only then realized that this puppy actually walked on 2 legs. What a clever and funny little fellow. Amy thought as she picked up the puppy and flew over the gutter. 2 huge snow bears were also approaching quickly. The one running in front was undoubtedly a male. The 4-meter drainage ditch was too easy for the snow bear. The snow bear was about to jump. Amy drew her long sword and slashed twice in front of it. The snow bear found that if it jumped over, it would be chopped in the air. The angry snow bear waved its front paws in the air, and the air in front of Amy quickly cooled down, became qualitative, froze, and formed ice blades, which flew towards Amy. Amy almost fainted. Snow bears are born with level 1 ice magic. Ice blade! Amy shouted, and the long sword ice blade formed a larger ice blade with a larger area and volume, which wrapped the ice blade just released by the snow bear and pressed towards the snow bear like a wall. Although it was a first-level magic, the effect of the blessing of the upper elves was indeed different. Even a first-level magician could not summon such a large number of ice blades in such a short time. The snow bear had never encountered such a situation before, and at a distance of 4 meters it had no way of evading. It took a solid blow, and its snow-white fur immediately turned red. Howl! The king of snow had never been hurt by such a young human. The male bear roared like a madman, his eyes glowing red with blood from the corners of his eyes, looking extremely ferocious. Bears are extremely scary animals, especially injured bears. A trapped bear can often exert several times its combat power. The bear in front of us is a representative example. Ignoring the sharp sword in front of him, the male bear bent over and crossed the drainage ditch. At the same time, the female bear appeared at the edge of the ditch and jumped over with a roar. On the frozen continent, even the most courageous Hami hunters would not take the initiative to provoke snow bears. A squad of Hami soldiers would walk around when they encountered snow bears. The attack of 2 snow bears was enough to destroy nearly 100 Hami soldiers. The mother bear sniffed the 2 cubs on the ground, and then sniffed the boy lying on the ground. Amy's heart suddenly lifted up. Why didn't he move for a long time? Did he get hurt? The mother bear licked the boy's face with her tongue, but the boy still didn't move. The puppy also leaned its head against the boy's legs, not moving. The mother bear turned around and roared at Amy angrily. Facing the attack of 2 bears at the same time is probably the last thing Amy wants to see. Roar! The male bear jumped up, and his huge paws lashed towards Amy's head with a sound of wind. The female bear also rushed over from another direction, and her bloody mouth suddenly opened. Her 4 fangs were white on top, yellow in the middle and black on the bottom. Her blood-red tongue was tightly locked in her lower jaw. Her breath carried Xingfei's saliva, and she lowered her head to bite Amy's neck. Amy turned her head and just avoided the male bear's delicious paw. Before she could react, the female bear's hot kiss came. Her head turned cold, and in a hurry, Amy bent down and escaped from between the male bear's legs. Before she could straighten up, the mother bear spat out Amy's hat and pounced on her. The male bear made a small circle and also opened his mouth to bite her. Maybe it's because of their many years of marriage. The 2 bears cooperated very well. Amy had just dodged the bear's paw and was faced with the bear's mouth. She didn't have any chance to swing the 2-handed sword. Fortunately, the bears were too tall and it was not very convenient to attack a lower target. Otherwise, Amy would have been slapped several times. When she tried to dodge the attack for the 3rd time by using the bear's legs, something bad happened. The male bear stepped on her sword. With a flash of inspiration, Amy hurriedly jumped over the drainage ditch and avoided the attack of the female bear. The 2 bears followed the drainage ditch at the same time without any hesitation. Amy did not turn around. As soon as her feet touched the ground, she bent down, pushed hard against the edge of the ditch, somersaulted back and landed just in front of Ice Blade. Ice Blade, Ice Storm. Amy grabbed the sword and took advantage of the moment when the bear turned around, shouting out Ice Blade's 2nd-level special attack. For an ice magician, Ice Storm is a very useful magic. Although its attack power is not strong, it can wrap the enemy's feet with the constantly formed ice layer, making the opponent unable to move for a short period of time. The injured male bear was obviously not very agile in his movements. Coupled with the ice and snow storm that kept appearing under his feet, he roared and tried to jump, but he was unable to move at all. The mother bear was not affected too much. She jumped back with her bloody mouth wide open. The bear meat wrapped in white hair trembled frequently with the jumping posture. Time was running out. Amy knew that snow bears were naturally resistant to ice magic, so she had too little time left. She quickly turned from defense to offense, and the huge sword reflected the sun's light and chopped directly at the giant bear's head. The sword passed through the air, leaving traces of ice. The mother bear dodged, and the ice blade seemed to have lost its inertia without weight. After bending at a very small angle in the air, the tip of the sword trembled and made a buzzing sound, and slashed at the mother bear's shoulder again. The huge body was unable to dodge, and the hair and flesh from the left shoulder to the left front leg were peeled off, revealing white bone fragments. There was no blood, and the cold giant blade not only froze the capillaries in the wound, but also almost froze the bear's forelimbs through the capillaries. The furious mother bear swung her right paw and knocked the ice blade away. With a low growl, the female bear pounced directly at Amy, who had lost her weapon again. Amy dodged the bear's attack by turning sideways. The bear swung its right palm again, and Amy lowered her head and rolled over to avoid it again. The bear did not stop at all. Its huge body moved slightly, and its butt weighing several tons sat down directly on Amy, who was still lying on the ground. 1 slap, 2 hits, and 3 butt squats. This is the most common serial attack method used by bears. It looks stupid but is extremely effective. Swoosh, bang. The sharp weapon flew through the air at an extremely fast speed and hit the mother bear. The mother bear let out a heart-wrenching scream of pain and fell to the ground with a bang. "Be careful with that one." It seemed to be the boy's voice. The male bear saw the female bear fall to the ground, roaring and struggling angrily. Amy had just picked up the ice blade when the male bear had already broken free from the ice storm and jumped over the trench. Amy did not hesitate at all, holding the hilt of the sword with both hands and stabbed the bear directly in the chest. The male bear was unable to dodge in the leap and was stabbed in the chest by the ice blade. The tip of the sword directly hit the bear's backbone. The bear's 2 huge front limbs had already rested on Amy's shoulders, and the sharp front claws tore the clothes on Amy's shoulders. The hind limbs just hit the drainage ditch, peeling off the frozen soil on the drainage ditch wall in chunks. Amy could no longer support the several tons of weight, and her hands loosened, and the male bear fell into a 5-meter deep drainage ditch with the long sword. The male bear used his 2 claws to pull the long sword down, and the sword cut through the bear's chest and stomach, and finally fell off the bear's body. The bear jumped up again, its front paws resting on the edge of the gutter, and its hind paws kicking the gutter wall. Its angry, bloodshot eyes stared at Amy. The bear's hind legs climbed higher and higher, and its head emerged from the gutter. Its shoulders emerged from the gutter. Its chest, which was spurting blood like a fountain, emerged from the gutter. The bear's waist emerged from the gutter. Amy was scared silly by such a bloody scene. Dragon race classification can be divided into 3 categories according to the evolution of dragons. First of all, there is the ancient sacred dragon clan. According to research, the ancient sacred dragon does exist, and it is the only superior race active in the human world. In the past 300 years, one of the most famous ancient sacred dragons is the mount of the holy dragon knight Halkdakingshan in the War of the Gods, the ice-green dragon Tamujelsai. The ancient sacred dragon can directly cast any magic of the same attribute above level 5 without any spells, and can transform into a human. The only worrying thing is that although the adult sacred dragon is elegant and has supreme wisdom, the larvae under 400 years old are similar to human children under 3 years old. They are not only irrational, but also full of curiosity. In addition, they love to be active and are good at magic that is sometimes not there but extremely destructive. When the dragon god Pilate created the sacred dragons, he also created ordinary dragons based on the sacred dragons. These dragons were controlled by the gods. Ordinary dragons, like the elves, belong to the middle and upper races. Ordinary dragons mostly appear in the mortal world and are commonly known as dragons. Although they are inferior to sacred dragons, dragons also have extreme wisdom, are good at a certain type of magic, and have extremely great destructive power. It is said that some families in some races have the blood of the gods or demons, so they can communicate with and ride dragons, and are called dragon knights by the world. However, according to research, this bloodline is not acquired through inheritance. Some extremely low-level races will suddenly have this noble bloodline. At present, each country has 1 to 10 dragon knights. The dragoons currently serving in the armies of various countries and becoming the main force of assault actually refer to small ground dragons. According to research, ground dragons, sand lizards, saltwater crocodiles, etc. are all subspecies of dragons. When the dragon god Pilate created the dragon race, there were many failures. Although these failures were very poor in ability, They had very strong ability to survive and lived all over the world. Occasionally, some ground dragons have simple magic and can even fly for a short time, but most ground dragons are known for their violent and swift impact. In battles in wilderness and hilly areas, and in short-distance breakthrough battles, dragoons are the nightmare of any other arms. Chi Yizi's famous work, Dragoon Mutual Promotion and Mutual Restraint,